Good evening, friends. Pull up a chair, won't you? It feels like just yesterday we were gathering around the television, or maybe the radio, listening to stories that shaped our understanding of the world and the people in it. Today, we're going to talk about a different kind of story, one that's been whispered in the quiet corners of Hollywood and beyond. It's a story about the immense weight carried by those we place on pedestals, the price of fame, and the hidden battles fought behind the brightest smiles and the most formidable personas. Let's begin with a name that, for many, conjures images of effortless charm and undeniable swagger: Dane. For years, he was known to millions as Dr. Mark Sloan, affectionately dubbed McSteamy on the hit medical drama Grey's Anatomy. He embodied a kind of confident, masculine bravado that felt almost larger than life. He was the picture of success, a beloved figure in a primetime phenomenon, seemingly living the dream under the California sun. His career blossomed, his characters captivated, and for a long time the public image was one of unshakable strength and charisma. From his early days on shows like Charmed to his pivotal role in Grey's, Dane projected an aura of cool, collected power. He was the guy you wanted to be, or wanted to be with, a true idol of his time, a face that graced countless magazine covers and filled our screens week after week. He was the quintessential leading man, navigating complex storylines with an ease that belied the intense pressure of network television. But behind that dazzling smile and that confident demeanor, a different story was unfolding. The classified file on Dane's journey reveals a haunting connection, a ghost in the machine linking him to others we'll discuss tonight. It wasn't a substance, or a single diagnosis in the conventional sense, but rather the crushing weight of a private war fought in public view. While he was McSteamy on screen, a battle against profound darkness, against the invisible burden of depression, was raging within him. This was a man who, despite his outward appearance of strength, was grappling with an enemy that required a different kind of courage, a strength unseen on any screen. Later in his career, portraying the tormented patriarch Cal Jacobs, perhaps there was a deeper resonance, a connection to his own internal struggles that we, the viewers, couldn't quite grasp at the time. The ultimate gut-wrenching irony, you see, is that the world celebrated him for the very armor he wore to hide his pain. We applauded the character, the heartthrob, while the man inside was fighting for his life. His greatest, most draining performances weren't for the camera. They were the daily act of survival against a silent affliction. The secret isn't just that he suffered. It's that his fame was built on a persona of strength that made his suffering impossible for us to truly see, or perhaps for him to truly share, until he reached a breaking point. It was a battle that eventually forced him to step away, to seek help, and to bravely speak about his struggles, shattering the illusion of invincibility that fame had built around him. From the confident swagger of a doctor in Seattle, we turn our gaze to a different kind of icon, one who brought laughter and comfort to millions for a decade. Matthew Perry, as Chandler Bing on Friends, was a master of comedic timing, a quick-witted, sarcastic anchor in a world of relatable 20-somethings. His character became a household name, a friend we invited into our living rooms every week. For 10 seasons, from 1994 to 2004, Friends was more than just a television show. It was a cultural phenomenon, and Matthew Perry was at its beating heart. He was the one who could always diffuse tension with a perfectly timed quip, the lovable cynic who made us feel seen and understood. His portrayal earned him Emmy nominations and cemented his place in television history as one of the most beloved comedic actors of his generation. He was the quintessential friend, the one who made you laugh until your sides hurt, the one who navigated life's awkward moments with a self-deprecating charm that was utterly irresistible. We watched him grow, stumble, and find love, all from the comfort of our couches, believing he was as happy and carefree as the character he played so brilliantly. Yet the file is now open, and the pattern, once obscured by the glare of Hollywood, is chillingly clear. The haunting link between Matthew Perry and the others we discuss isn't a supernatural curse. It's the uniquely modern tragedy of the public mask. While he was the comedian, giving the world a decade of laughter, the real man was drowning in a sea of personal demons, using the persona of funny as a shield while fighting for his life in secret. He eloquently chronicled this battle in his own words, calling it a big, terrible thing, a daily, desperate war against the disease of addiction. The irony is profound. The very personas that made them beloved were the same masks that concealed their suffering. The world consumed his strength, his wit, while the machinery of fame demanded the performance never stop. It created a chasm between the public figure we adored and the private man who fought his greatest battles devastatingly alone. His passing, officially attributed to the acute effects of a certain substance, was the final chapter in a lifelong war against addiction and depression. He had been so open about his struggles, so committed to helping others, And yet the grip of those personal demons proved too strong. You know, it's hard to imagine now, looking back at those carefree moments on screen, just how much pain he was carrying. It makes you wonder, doesn't it, about the hidden burdens so many of our heroes carry? Please share in the comments which of his roles touched your heart the most, because as long as we remember him, he is never truly gone. From the laughter of a sitcom stage to the roar of a basketball arena, we journey to another titan, a man whose name became synonymous with unparalleled dedication and superhuman effort: Kobe Bryant. For 2 decades, he graced the hardwood courts of the National Basketball Association, primarily with the Los Angeles Lakers becoming one of the most iconic athletes of all time. His Mamba mentality was more than just a catchphrase. It was a doctrine, a philosophy of relentless pursuit of excellence, an unyielding drive that pushed him to the very limits of human capability. We watched him defy gravity, sink impossible shots, and lead his team to 5 championship titles. He was a gladiator in the public arena, a monument to human will and discipline, who seemed to transcend the physical limitations that bound lesser mortals. His 20-year career, all with one team, was a testament to loyalty and an almost mythical work ethic. He played through injuries that would sideline others, his fierce competitive spirit burning brighter with every challenge. He was a hero to millions, an inspiration to athletes and dreamers alike, a man who seemed to embody the very idea of invincibility. His presence on the court was electric, his passion undeniable, and his legacy seemingly would stretch on forever. Yet the intelligence is now clear, the file is open. The haunting secret connecting Kobe Bryant to these men isn't a conspiracy. It's a silent epidemic fought in the public eye. The war against the persona. He was a prisoner of the powerful, invincible image he projected, while fighting a profound, isolating battle in private. The Mamba mentality was his brand, an ethos of inhuman resilience. We celebrated him for playing through broken fingers and torn ligaments, for pushing his body to immortal lengths. The persona demanded he be a god, masking the very real grinding pain of a mortal body. His sudden, tragic passing in a catastrophic helicopter crash on a clear Sunday morning in January of 2020 shattered that illusion of invincibility in the most brutal way imaginable. It was a horrifying reminder that no amount of willpower or legendary status can conquer fate. The supreme and haunting irony is that the source of his global adoration, his image of unbreakable strength, flawless performance, and relentless drive, was the same armor that isolated him in his suffering. We, the audience, demanded a Superman, blind to the fact that the pressure to uphold that myth was his greatest vulnerability. The brightest spotlights, it turns out, cast the darkest and most solitary shadows. His death, alongside his beloved daughter Gianna and 7 others, was a stark, painful lesson in the fragility of life, even for those we deem immortal. From the roar of the stadium, we moved to the majesty of the silver screen, to a man who, in a tragically short time, became a king: Chadwick Boseman. He was an actor of profound depth and quiet dignity, who brought to life some of the most pivotal figures in American history. Jackie Robinson, James Brown, Thurgood Marshall, he embodied them all with a grace and power that resonated deeply. But it was his portrayal of King T'Challa, the Black Panther, that solidified his place in the hearts of millions around the globe. He didn't just play a superhero, he became a cultural phenomenon, a symbol of strength, royalty, and hope for an entire generation. The film was a groundbreaking success, breaking box office records and inspiring countless individuals, young and old. Boseman carried the weight of this monumental role with an unparalleled commitment, understanding the profound impact his character had. He was charismatic, powerful, and deeply intelligent, reflecting all the best qualities of the king he portrayed. His performances were not just acting. They were a profound statement, an elevation of spirit that left audiences awestruck. He stood tall, a beacon of strength, ready to face any challenge that came his way, both on and off the screen. And this is where the declassified truth truly hits home. The connection here is not a conspiracy, but a tragic, unwritten code of modern celebrity, the performance of invincibility. Our investigation reveals these men were all bound by the crushing weight of their public archetypes, even as their private worlds crumbled. Chadwick Boseman, the king, embodied grace and royal strength as King T'Challa, a hero to millions. The secret, the classified intel, was that he was simultaneously fighting a terminal disease, a 4-year battle with colon cancer, believing any sign of weakness would jeopardize the very symbol he had become. His performance of health was his final, most demanding role. For 4 long years, he underwent chemotherapy and surgeries, all while filming blockbusters, visiting sick children, and inspiring the world. He projected superhuman strength while his own body was being systematically destroyed. The ultimate haunting irony for Chadwick Boseman is that he was celebrated globally for portraying men who broke barriers and endured immense public pressure. Yet, His own greatest battle, a display of human endurance and quiet courage far exceeding any of his cinematic roles, was fought entirely in the dark, away from the cameras. The world praised him for the strength they could see, completely unaware of the true, monumental strength he was hiding. His passing in August of 2020 sent shockwaves across the globe, a devastating revelation that his journey had been one of unimaginable private suffering. Now, let's turn to a different kind of explorer, a culinary adventurer who traversed the globe, inviting us to see the world through the lens of food and culture. Anthony Bourdain was a chef, an author, and a television personality who captivated audiences with his cynical wit, his raw honesty, and his insatiable curiosity. From the bustling kitchens of New York City to the farthest corners of the earth, he was our guide, showing us that food was more than sustenance. It was a language, a history, a bridge between people. His shows, A Cook's Tour, No Reservations, and Parts Unknown, were groundbreaking, offering a gritty, authentic look at global cuisines and the human stories behind them. He was the ultimate cool uncle, the one who'd take you on wild adventures, teach you about life, and tell you exactly what he thought, without pretense. He was celebrated for his ability to connect with anyone, anywhere, breaking bread with strangers and finding common ground in the shared experience of a meal. His books, especially Kitchen Confidential, peeled back the glamorous facade of the culinary world, revealing its gritty, demanding reality. He was a maverick, a storyteller, and a voice of reason in a world often too polished for its own good. His impact on travel and food journalism was immense, inspiring countless individuals to seek out authentic experiences and embrace the unknown. The files, when cross-referenced, reveal a pattern hidden in plain sight. This isn't a conspiracy, but a shared, silent burden. Each of these icons was locked in a long-term, private war against a devastating internal condition, even as their public personas projected strength, humor, or invincibility. Anthony Bourdain projected the image of the eternally cool, cynical world traveler, completely at ease in any situation. The reality, now declassified through friends' accounts and his own writings, was a man battling profound depression, chronic pain, and an intense loneliness exacerbated by a relentless life on the road. The secret that connects them is the unsustainable cost of the mask. Each man was a master of his craft, celebrated for an image of strength, coolness, or humor. But behind that facade, they were fighting deeply personal, isolating battles against the black dog of depression, a fatal illness, or the chains of addiction. They were celebrated for the performance, while being privately crushed by its weight. On June 8, 2018, while filming an episode of Parts Unknown in France, Anthony Bourdain tragically ended his own life. The ultimate and bitter irony for him is that the man who built a global empire on the power of authentic human connection, of breaking bread with strangers in far-flung corners of the world to prove we are not alone, ultimately died of a profound, isolating despair. He traveled the entire globe searching for truth and connection in others, but in the end, he felt so disconnected himself that he believed there was no other way out. The man who taught the world how to connect couldn't be saved by it. Finally, we turn our attention to an artist who was the embodiment of resilience, a force of nature who defied every expectation and triumphed over unimaginable adversity. Tina Turner, the queen of rock and roll, was a living legend, a powerhouse performer whose electrifying stage presence and soulful voice commanded the world's attention for over 6 decades. From her early days with Ike Turner, through a tumultuous and painful personal life, she emerged stronger, more vibrant, and more iconic than ever. Songs like Proud Mary, What's Love Got to Do With It, and The Best became anthems of empowerment, her story a testament to the human spirit's capacity for survival and reinvention. She was a survivor in every sense of the word, her life, a public saga of overcoming immense challenges, both personal and professional. Her concerts were legendary, her energy boundless, and her spirit infectious. She retired from touring in 2009, but her legacy continued to inspire, a beacon of hope for anyone facing their own struggles. She was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice, a testament to her enduring impact on music and culture. Her smile was radiant, her stage presence captivating, and her story, an open book of triumph over adversity. Yet, even for a woman who seemed to embody unbreakable strength, there were private battles waged in the quiet corners of her life. The files, when cross-referenced, reveal a pattern hidden in plain sight. This isn't a conspiracy, but a shared, silent burden. Each of these icons was locked in a long-term private war against a devastating internal condition, even as their public personas projected strength, humor, or invincibility. Tina Turner, the queen of rock and roll who survived so much, was secretly battling kidney failure so severe she contemplated assisted suicide before her husband's life-saving transplant. Her health struggles weren't always public knowledge, but they were profound. A protracted, multi-front war against intestinal cancer, a massive stroke, and ultimately, total kidney failure. This was a battle she fought largely outside the public's view, a private agony for a woman who had already given so much of her life to the world. The ultimate irony is a cruel one. For Tina Turner and the others, the very source of their fame, an image of superhuman resilience, wit, or strength, became the loneliest prison. The public consumed the myth, while the human being fought their war in silence, their greatest battle unseen by the millions who adored them. The secret wasn't what was killing them. It was that they were forced to live, and in some cases die, behind the mask of their own legend. She passed away peacefully in May of 2023, but her journey was far from peaceful in its final years. How often do we truly appreciate our heroes while they are still walking among us, often fighting their hardest battles out of sight? The truth, declassified tonight, is that these cultural pillars, these icons of strength and charisma, carried burdens we could scarcely imagine. The secret isn't a single event or diagnosis, but the crushing weight of a private war fought in public view, the unsustainable cost of the mask. Each of them, in their own way, was forced to perform invincibility, humor, or strength, even as their private worlds battled profound challenges. It reminds us that behind every legend, every star, is a human being with the same vulnerabilities, the same struggles as anyone else. Perhaps the greatest lesson we can take from their stories is to look a little closer, listen a little harder, and remember that empathy is always in season. Take care of yourselves and hold your loved ones close. Memory is the only thing that truly lasts forever.